So my name's Jimmy Walker from Jackson Clements Burrows Architects. Here today to present T3 Collingwood on the beautiful Wurundjeri lands in the sustainable category. What is T3? It's a very specific workplace product that our client developer has. They've rolled a few of them out in the Northern Hemisphere, our client being Hines Property. The three T's stand for timber, transit and technology. So those three key items were sort of the main drivers of this particular project. You can see it's located in the industrial context of Collingwood, just north of Victoria Parade, with beautiful west-facing city views. Our site was a series of three single-storey warehouse buildings on the corner of Wellington Street and Northumberland, adjacent a old heritage brick building, 5-storey residential building. The surrounding context for a lot of the buildings is a podium level sort of punch window brick warehouse, and that was one of the key drivers for our initial design response, which was to look at the site, the 2100 square metre site, and think about how that might sit, what we do might sit comfortably in that site. You can see the heritage building, which is that one there. So what the key move that we made on the ground plane was to set our building back on the north to really open up that ground plane and be respectful of the heritage building, so that the views can be maintained from Wellington Street and down Northumberland Street. This is really a building of two halves. We have the old Collingwood and the new Collingwood. The new Collingwood, of course, being a lot of development, sort of pushing for extra height, and our response to that was sort of to look at the old being the concrete brick podium, and putting on top of that a really sort of 21st century mass timber structure with high-performing curtain wall facade. Northumberland and Wellington, you can see the setback that we've got on here, and this project's sort of 3.3 metres setback from the existing heritage building, and continuing the floor finish brick paving language through to the ground floor plane has really sort of opened up and invited the communal aspect to this project. Level 1, traditional concrete brick podium. You can sort of notice the column grid spacing there, and then we jump up to a level 9 and a level 12 where the building kicks back on the terrace, and you'll notice the sort of more regular and frequent timber structure. West elevation, the tower form goes back out to the original property line on Northumberland Street, and the brick podium form is set back. Being a T3 project, timber was always at the forefront of the design, the early concepts. This is one of the initial marketing renders that really celebrates this idea of the mass timber tower. From an ESD perspective, this project is a 6-star Green Star project. The key drivers to achieve the 6-star, I mean, timber is sort of always sitting front and centre of that, but there's a lot more going on to get a 6-star Green Star than just the structure. So we've got 44 kilowatt solar power on the roof that's helping to achieve our 5.5-star neighbours energy rating. Similarly, the facades, both podium and the curtain wall, are shaded to reduce the energy costs there. The low carbon mass timber structure, collecting rainwater on the roof for our communal terraces, as well as our bin wash down and toilet flushing. And the transit part of T, a key part of that is the end of trip facilities for commuters. Very, very complex timber structure. We looked at all sorts of options of hybrids, concrete, steel, all timber, some timber. And this is where we landed, which was the concrete podium and the timber tower. These two photos here just sort of show the difference in the perception of space and the look and feel and the warmth that timber brings versus the sort of more traditional office, concrete office. And of course, to make sure that all worked with the frequency of timber structure, we had to do a number of test fits to shore it up. And similarly to the structural testing, we did a lot of facade testing. This was about the spandrel depth versus, or the spandrel ratio versus the clear glass, the fin spacing, sort of light getting in, visual light versus the energy efficiency of the system. And the wonderful part about this project is that by utilising a mass timber structure, we've reduced our emissions by 34%. And really, a lot of that's to do with sort of starting off down here. You get a bit of a free kick because using the Green Star method, A1 to A5, we've sequestered all the carbon out of the atmosphere even before you start your project, compared with a normal project in concrete, you're starting at the baseline. And another beautiful story to this project is that we were able to utilise locally procured mass timber from our suppliers, Xlam up in Albury, Wodonga, and Ash down in Gippsland. 950 cubic metres of hardwood, and that regrows itself every 5 minutes in Victoria, which is remarkable. 2,300 cubic metres of CLT, which takes 118 minutes to grow itself in Victorian forests. 2 minutes, yep. The complexity of dealing with mass timber, the shop drawings, the level of detail, the services, coordination, it's incredibly complex but obviously rewarding, and the logistics too sort of add up in the long run because we're nearly 8.5 days of a timber floor cycle versus 10 to 11 in concrete for the builder. And lots of fire testing. The client invested nearly $500,000 in 7 different fire tests to make sure that the project was viable. And a very exciting day when timber arrived on site, and I'll just whiz through some final projects. You can see the fin spacing on the facade, the context of Collingwood that's rapidly evolving. Street views with the Copenhagen bike lanes up and down Wellington Street, the horizontal fins on the north doing all the heavy lifting, and some biophilic sort of moments throughout the podium and bringing in the external brick paving to the interior lobby. The OT facilities, the 19 showers, the 186 bike parks, a very sort of non-Collins Street response. It's a very kind of industrial aesthetic down in the EOT, and bookable lockers, and of course up in the floor plate, the shadow coming through the fins and the sort of natural light hitting the timber. Communal terraces, that's the level 12 floor plate. And the 48% VLT clear glass, which is allowing you to see the timber through both day and night. Thank you very much.